Listen only mode.
Well, good morning, everybody, from the land of smiles, Bangkok, Thailand. This is your buddy Ken Krell coming to you live. Before we get started with the festivities here, I'd like to just check and see if you can hear me okay. So, if you would just do me a favor, pop in the chat, let me know where you're calling in from, and if you can hear me, that would be awesome. Jocelyn is here, probably from Canada today. Let's see, Carol, hopefully you are back in. Okay. Anybody else? Can the rest of you guys hear me? I know I can be heard as far away as Canada, so that's great. How about the rest of you guys? Can you hear me okay? Before we get started on the festivities, Tasha's here. Great. I'm so glad to see Andrea Wolf here today. This is exciting. I haven't seen you in a while, my dear. Thrilled to have you here. And it's perfect for you, young lady, by the way. Max is in from Sydney. Outstanding. I was going to say outstanding. Great. Okay, cool. So we're going to start today. I do have a little bit of a disclosure for you coming up. I have as a totalpreneur and as an entrepreneur, we tend to do things and work things in perhaps different and unconventional ways. So I'm doing the webinar from home, as I tend to do, and sometimes I'll do them from offsite. But I do happen to have a repairman coming to fix my washer dryer in about an hour. At least that's what I'm told. They may not show up. Who knows? If they do, we may have an interruption, like the phone will ring from the security people saying that they need to send them up. So I'm giving you that warning in advance. We kind of double scheduled things this morning, and sometimes it happens like that. So we'll just laugh and we'll move on. And by the way, as we get into our content today, I do want to share with you that being transparent in your promotions and being transparent in the way you actually run your online events, or any event for that matter, makes you more human, lets people laugh with you. And as long as you make it okay, and you work and you're in full disclosure, you're good to go. So that's kind of how that plays out. Um, I can't guarantee, Shamal, that you're going to have a replay. So you may just try to reboot your system and come back in. But I'm not promising replays on this thing. I don't promise replays on our webinars anymore. This is actually a live replay for one that we did last night with my friend Holly Cotter. Because again, we don't normally provide replays. So not a promise to you, sir, but give it a try to come in and reach out to me through the support line afterwards. But I just don't promise replays anymore. Okay, so if you guys are ready to start, let's jump right in because we've got a lot to do today. So today we're going to talk about the fail-safe way to jumpstart your business and generate cash, create power and influence in your business. And hopefully my system will work smoothly today, since now I got people saying that they've got viruses, so I don't want it to be contagious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the system that's made me thousands of dollars and helped build my business within just a few short months. And this is exactly what I did. And I'll tell you why I created this in just a couple seconds, because it really is very fundamental. You're going to learn how to put all this together and do this exact same thing for yourself while you build authority and huge credibility in your marketplace. This is not just about making money right now. This is about actually building the foundation of your business. And by the way, whether you've been in business for 30 years or you've been in business for 30 minutes, it's the same strategy. Okay, if you've been in business for 30 years, you may have to unlearn a few things, and you may also have a lot of great advantages you can play with and that you can leverage. And so there's advantages there. And if you're just getting started, then you've got the energy, the enthusiasm, and the moxie to do what it's going to take to get going. So for those of you who know me, this will be a little bit redundant. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ken Krell. I am known as the Kenergizer, which you will probably figure out for obvious reasons over the next 60 to 90 minutes. I'm the founder and executive director of the Institute for Totalpreneurship, where we help entrepreneurs become totalpreneurs, because totalpreneurs have it all. That's the lifestyle, that's the fun, that's the passion, that's being able to wake up every morning and saying, I love what I'm doing, even if it is 3 o'clock in the morning, to get something accomplished. That's the beauty of this, is that you get to live the lifestyle that you want, wherever you want. And by the way, the whatever you want means, if you want to be where you are right now, that's fantastic. It doesn't mean you got to change anything. It really means that the inner game has been handled, so you're completely thrilled with what you're building in your life. And by the way, to answer the question, yes, it is a real tiger that does eat meat. And come to Thailand, I'll take you. We can go visit my friend the tiger. For the past 20, actually close to 30 years now, my first copywritten cassette course was, I think it was 1984. I've trained thousands of people make millions of dollars in real estate investments and in business all over the world. Primarily, I was teaching in the U.S. and Canada, and loved what I was doing. But as you'll hear in a few minutes, that game changed, and when that game changed, I had to change as well. My goal today is to help turn you from entrepreneur to totalpreneur and see a different way of doing things and build your business and build your life in a different vernacular, a different way you can make things work. Now, what are we going to do today? What you're going to learn during our presentation today is how to turn your marketing into a more effective, captivating, and energetic client generation machine. Now, I love those words. It also works. It's also exactly what we are going to do. So you can create new long-term high profit business while you sleep. And that really does happen on autopilot once you put the pieces in place. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to have to work. Let's get clear about that. You will have to work. And by the way, this works even if you're just getting started, like I said, with no list, no product, no content, because I did it. And if I can do it, trust me, you guys can too. I had a lot of things to overcome to be able to get myself successful. You can learn how to properly position your event. Say that 3 times fast. Properly position your event so you can make the biggest possible impact and your income. And the positioning is really important. You can learn how to craft the perfect structure for your event so you are positioned for success. And that structure is very, very important. If you do it wrong, you can have a lot of fallout of people and you will lose a lot of money if you make some of the mistakes I did at the beginning. You're going to learn the new way, by the way, to position your online event that will help you succeed in a world filled with clutter and distraction. And there is so much of it right now that is in the way of every element of your success. Bottom line today, you're going to learn the 3 keys to profiting with online events. And the big key to me is profit. Red, by the way, the color of love and excitement. So now, why is this important to you right now? Well, first of all, most marketing strategy we have learned today is dead wrong. Things have changed. I mean, people were like, we're talking about how great Facebook was, and now Facebook is making changes, and for some people, it's not what it used to be. The game changes constantly, and we've got to be adapting to change with that. Now, by the way, as I'm saying all this, I want to also remind you of 2 things. I jumped right in this morning and I forgot to lay some of the foundation. Number 1, this time is for you today. All right. So I want you to use this time as best you possibly can. That means A, pay attention, to put your cell phones in silent or vibrate position, unless, of course, the repairman's coming to fix your washer and dryer within the next hour, at which point it's okay to answer that phone. All right. So you may hear that phone ringing. The other thing that I want you to think about, too, is that today is going to be a dialogue. That question box, that's what a question whatever question link that you've got on your GoToWebinar control panel on the right side of your screen, use it. If you've got questions, comments, whatever, use it. If I can answer the question right then and it's part of the flow, I will. If not, I'll get it at the end. But I want to make sure I get all of your questions answered today. This is a dialogue, and I will be asking you questions throughout. So please respond to me. I went from doing live events all over the world, primarily US and Canada, with students all over the world, to online events. And the big difference is in an online event, you don't get to touch the person on the shoulder and look them in the eye, unless you're doing something like a Google Hangout where you don't touch them on the shoulder, but at least you can look them in the eye if they're on camera. All right, I don't do much in the way of Hangouts, but I do a lot of GoToWebinar. And the way that I can get to touch you on the shoulder and look you in the eye is by you going into the chat and talking to me. So feel free and do that. All right. I may not necessarily respond to everything because I kind of actually have to monitor the questions as well as present. But that's how we get engagement. So I urge you to feel free and do that. Talk to me, and we'll move on from there. Is that cool? You guys okay with that? This is where you say yes, Ken, in the chat there in that question box. Okay. So talk to me. There we go. Okay. Fantastic. All right. So now, as I said, the most marketing strategy we've learned is today because things keep constantly changing, and we've got to change with them. It has been and is getting worse for what I call megaphone marketing. Everyone's screaming. I mean, I get these emails, and you probably get the same kind of things. Emergency webinar. I'm like, give me a break. There's no emergency. It's your emergency because maybe you can't pay your mortgage, but there are no emergencies out there. You know, the only emergency is if we know that there happens to be a virus or something, we want to protect you from it, or we sent out the wrong link and the webinar is in 5 minutes. You know, that's kind of like, okay, critical. But this emergency stuff is getting incredibly annoying. And I bet people that I've known, I've liked, I've trusted, done webinars with, made a lot of money with, I mean, great marketers that are constantly doing this emergency bull. And it's annoying and it's offensive, and I don't even pay attention anymore. They have eliminated me as an email opener. Okay. So that's a challenge. Now they keep doing it. I guess it works for them, but to me, it's just flat out wrong. And even though I'm a profit oriented business, I still have to live with what I consider to be respectable, ethical marketing. You guys cool with that? Okay. So the other thing it's been about a lot of small thinking, hitting singles and not going for the home run. A lot of people, it's funny, I do a lot of strategic consulting these days. And lately we've been offering strategy sessions to some of our buyers. They get strategy sessions as a bonus with me, and that's an hour of my time, and we go through, I mean, everything from soup to nuts in their business, and restructure a lot of basic things, and take them basically going from the road to disaster to the road to profit. I mean, and we can do that within an hour. I mean, it's really really cool and it's fun. But what's interesting is that when people come to these sessions, I have them fill out a questionnaire, and I ask people, "What do you want to be earning this year, next year, 5 years?" And what's shocking to me is I got people that will put down things like $30,000. Now we're not talking about a week or a month; we're talking about a year. And I submit to you that we need a 0 or 2 on that. I mean, people are thinking really small because they've never realized the potential that they've got. So this is really important. Today is going to be dramatically different. We're not talking about get rich quick at all today. However, I'm going to tell you that we're going to be giving you a bunch of shortcuts and the easy button. The thing is, that get rich quick that people will talk about is, make $3 million in 30 days. Wrong. I'm going to talk about a 90-day plus or minus time frame. Can you make money sooner? Absolutely. Will it take longer? Absolutely. It's all about you. I can't control what goes on. Okay. There's not going to be a do nothing, get paid scenario. Dare I say it? You're going to have to work. Oh my God. And get stuff done. I will give you some of the shortcuts to be more efficient and effective, but you're going to have to actually do something and get off of your what to achieve the goals that you want to accomplish. It just doesn't happen by clicking your heels and saying 3 times, I want to succeed. I want to succeed. Okay. No games, no shenanigans, no black hats. This is all up and up. This is all clean. This is all something you can be completely proud of and tell your kids and grandkids about. Okay. No flash, none of that stuff, and no throwing stuff against the wall. It's strategy and systems and replicatable systems. Okay. So that's the scoop on that. All right. And Sam, no promises on a replay, my friend. I said that earlier. No promises on a replay. Okay, is this going to be for you? If you're going to get dinner organized for your kids, bring the laptop with you. If you got a laptop, you can't do it with the desktop. I understand. I travel all over my condo with either my iPad, which I watch my webinars on, if I'm watching one, or on the Mac, and I travel around with it. So if that's what you got to do, it's cool. Is this for you today? Well, let's put it this way: if you have no list, you need to pay attention today, very very carefully. If you want to be among the few online marketers that actually have a thriving, steady, and consistent income, this is absolutely for you, because this is the foundation of creating that. If you want to rapidly create a great reputation with respectability, power, and influence, this is completely for you. And by the way, here's who it's not for. And I tell you this because as you build your business, you need to know exactly who your audience is and who your audience is not, and get rid of the ones it is not for. And I mean get rid of them, because they're only going to suck your time, suck your energy, and suck your focus. You want to work with people that are the right people for you, and only those right people. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you guys? Now, I see a lot of people that are members of my Trailblazers here. That's what we talk about a lot, is getting that ideal customer. That's foundational. So I want all of you to recognize that. So this is not for people that have no value to offer. This is not about the takers. It's about the givers. Okay. Andrea gives me a high five on that. Okay. This is not for people looking for that magic answer. Now, I do have a magic wand here. A friend of mine gave that to me, and I use it every now and then, and it does help. But I also recognize that it's a magic wand. It doesn't work for everybody, right? I don't have that magic wand for you. It's my magic wand. It works for me. And by the way, if you're a blamer, and there are a few people out there that are known for this, that do not accept their own responsibility, don't be with me, because you won't last very long. Okay. If you're going to blame someone for your own lack of action, and excuses is your middle name, this is not a good relationship. I'll tell you right now, go do something else. Go watch reruns of Mod Squad on the TV or something, but this will not be effective for you. Okay, we're going to get real here. Number one, I want you to understand that my results are not remotely typical of what you will be doing. Why? Because everyone's results are different, and it is all about you. You'll do what you'll do, and you'll be able to be successful based on your resources, your history, and who you are. Now, the other thing I needed to share with you is that most people who buy any sort of how to make money training won't make any money at all. Why? Because they won't do anything with it. I'm going to tell you that right now. They won't do anything with it. And by the way, just in case you're used to the normal, in another 45 minutes, get out your credit card pitch, there will not be a get out your credit card pitch today. Just letting you know that right now. There is no credit card today. What I will invite you to do later is find out whether the training I'll invite you to is right for you, and you'll get an opportunity to actually speak with me live for about 15 minutes, and we'll explore that together. Because I want to be sure that you're right for me, and I want to be sure that you're right for you. So that's what the offer and opportunity will be today. Will be, does this, what I'm teaching you today, does it work for you? And if it does and you want to learn more, we'll explore how we can do that together. So, if you're worried about credit cards and stuff, stick them away. We're not going there. All right. So it's about results, my friends. It is completely about results. The average person has little or no results because the average person does nothing due to lack of work, focus, and dedication. And I'm going to tell you right now, having done some of these strategy sessions on a complimentary basis, it amazes me the number of people that I'll go through. We show them the opportunity that they can turn their lives around and give them great passion. I see it in their eyes because we do them with video. And so many of them, they're light, they're ready to go, they're ready to sign up, and nothing happens. They just don't take action. That's amazing. That's the average person. The average person's broke and has a dream and doesn't achieve it. This is not for average people. Okay, and I got to confess to you that I do have an advantage over most people because I now have a name in the industry and I've got a list. But that's not how I began. So as you hear me talking about things today, and yes, I got a lot of experience, which is why I have the credibility to train you today and to be your leader today. Fact is, I didn't begin that way. I began in serious disadvantages. So the key is that you have to operate with your advantages in the forefront. Okay, how did it begin for me? Well, I was doing really well. I was making a lot of money in real estate. I was a very, very popular trainer. I was like the senior trainer for the Russ Whitney organization, training people on real estate and entrepreneurship all over. And it was my trainings that people wanted to come to. I was like the go-to guy in that business. All right. So I was a celebrity within that organization. There was a waiting list to come into my trainings. It was cool. I mean, I was like their internal rock star. Why was that? Because I created environments for every one of my trainings so that when people came to my training, they had a blast. When we did role plays, we did costume role plays. We brought in people from the hotel to take to play with us. I mean, we made it a fun, enjoyable event, which, by the way, is what I try to do with everything that I do. Okay, I'm going to be real serious with you today because this is serious stuff, but you can still be serious and have a great time. People are looking for leadership today, and that's what you've got to give them. We gave them leadership with fun. And when they came knowing in advance that it was going to be fun because they got letters from me telling them what to expect. Most people don't ever do that. Okay. But we set an expectation that it was going to be something different. And that's what made me so successful within that organization, to have a waiting list for people to come into my events. Okay. And that's not ego talking. That's fact. It's because I went the extra mile. And that's what most people are not willing to do, because mediocre is average. And to me, mediocre is failure. Average is failure. Okay. So I was doing really well. And I had diversified internationally. I was investing in real estate. We created a 500-acre parcel. We didn't create it; God created it. But we bought a 500-acre parcel on the Central Caribbean coast of, Central Pacific coast rather, of Costa Rica. 500 acres overlooking the water. It was, oh my God, land. It was just, you get to that land and you went, oh my God. It was amazing. And then I lost it all. When the market came and the crash came, I thought I was invincible. I thought it could never possibly hurt us. And it did. And it was devastating because I lost everything. I had everything I had. My retirement, everything was in that, including the money that my investors had put in it. And these people were friends and family who trusted me and trusted, my ability to make money, which I've always been great at. So I got accused of all sorts of nasty stuff because, of course, I created that recession, right? I was the Wall Street guy, not. But because I was international, there was, it just got bad, and I was millions of dollars in debt. And then ended up having a heart attack after all of that. So I was basically a living country music song. Can anybody relate to any of that? Just even a little bit of that. I went from, being worth millions upon millions of dollars to basically being worth more dead than alive because my body had better assets in it. And we're not talking about the gold in my teeth, okay? I was at rock bottom, declared bankruptcy for the second time. Yes, I'm a bankruptcy professional. And that's, it talk about real humiliation. That's pretty bad. Now, I had no list. I had no online reputation. In fact, my reputation was bad because of all the rumors going on around everything else. All right. So, and some of you are saying, yes, I've been there and back. So, welcome to the family. The good news is that you can come back. The challenge is that sometimes it's incredibly painful. And for me, it took years to get over it. Years. And I did a great job of punishing myself for all the things that happened, even though, the vast majority were out of my control. I would keep replaying if I did this in my head. That's no way to make any kind of a business or move forward. Very, very hard to do. At that point, with bad reputation, no money, no home. By the way, no home and no car. Car was repossessed. And the day I looked out to the parking deck and didn't see the car there from my mother's condo, I was like, oh my God. And it wasn't stolen. So you want to talk about a major humiliation? I was 50 plus years old, sleeping on my mom's couch. And as I'm trying to rebuild myself, I couldn't even market myself, because if I marketed myself using my own name, then the perception in the bankruptcy court was he's very successful and he has money. We must find it. And I mean, I just couldn't even use my own name. It was awful. For those of you who know me as Brian Douglas, that's the big why. There were some products I wanted to market separately as a different persona, because it kind of made sense to do that. But the vast majority was I could not go out with my own name. All right. That's living life in failure land, my friends. And I was dabbling in online marketing with some moderate success. And to me, again, as I said, mediocre is failure. So I was a big problem. And I bought all sorts of those get rich quick things to restart. You know what I'm talking about. And they sat on the shelf, just like that most of them probably have for you. And I will also confess that I started selling the get rich quick stuff too. I did that because I knew no better way. And that's what I was advised for. And I'm on my mom's couch, my friends. Okay. Whatever it took to get out of there, trust me, I wanted to. I was not setting the world on fire, and I wasn't connecting with anything or anybody. It didn't work for me. There was just nothing there that was passionate. And some of you I know can relate to that, because so many people are out there just trying to throw junk against the wall to make a couple of bucks, and that you don't build a business that way. So I had to make a decision. The decision was grow or die. And, my friends were saying, get a job, Ken. I mean, just, when are you going to start getting on with your life? And being on my mom's couch at over 50 years old wasn't the way to go. So finally I said, enough of this. Let's just figure out a way to make something work and do something in a cool way that's going to be rewarding for me. One of my dear friends who's making millions of dollars in online work, he's an attorney. I work with him at the Whitney organization. He said to me, Ken, why don't you just do this? And, we've had a number of talks, long talks on the phone. He said, just do this. And I resisted it for years. And finally I was like, you know what? I probably should. And everything changed. The key for me was that I was willing to do stuff that people would not normally do. I took the chance, I took action, and I put blinders on. So that, and by the way, I'm one of those people, they would call me ADD, which I take offense to, because I don't like those kind of categories. But the bottom line is I look at opportunity, and I do that bright, shiny object thing, and I can get distracted. But the bottom line is I put blinders on, and I went forward with just one giant purpose. I made the commitment and I kept going, and it was real marketing. It was not gimmicks, and it became my first online event, plain and simple. And it was all about producing top quality service. To me, it's like emulating Steve Jobs. Apple doesn't do junk for the most part. Okay. I wanted to have that kind of reputation, and I wanted to have that kind of pride to be able to work in that standpoint. So I did spend a lot of money on courses. And by the way, I borrowed a lot of money to take some of the courses from the masters as well, some of the new guys that really are making it work. And it was all about getting the results. The rest was history. But it meant I had to actually follow people that were doing what they were talking about, not just book reports. I was one of the few people, by the way, doing real estate trainings that actually invested in real estate. I wasn't just saying, well, here's how you can do it. And it was all bull, it was the real deal. So it's very important that you learn from people that are actually doing stuff. So what happened for me? Well, I started creating online conferences and summits. That's exactly what I did. That's what you learn to do today. And I started out with one real estate summit, and it was an online conference. It was called Real Estate Profit Training. And by the way, here's my challenge. Okay. Within the Whitney organization, like I said, I was like a rock star. I mean, people lined up for my courses, and that was really fun. And I taught foreclosure trainings. I did everything for those guys. It was wonderful. It was a great relationship until it ended. And here's the thing. Outside of Whitney, no one knew who I was. So here I was, this rock star, making tons of money, having a blast, having sold out trainings every single weekend I wanted to work. And I worked a lot because it was fun. I never felt I was really working. That's the beauty of being able to call your own shots, right? Unfortunately, I was calling my own shots for somebody else, right? So effectively, I had no business when it was over. And that was my challenge. How do I get out in the marketplace and be able to make a difference in that market where no one knew who I was? Well, what I did was I leveraged other people's success. I found 10 real estate so-called gurus who were known in the internet marketing area, meaning they were selling their stuff online. To me, online marketing is just another element of marketing, another way of distributing, say that 3 times fast, distributing your information. Okay? That whole I'm an internet marketer thing, to me, that's sort of the wrong way of looking at your business. To me, marketing is about actually selling something of value to somebody or offering something of value that will serve them. And if you do it using the internet, fantastic. That's just a delivery system as far as I'm concerned. And that's fundamental because if you build your business that way, you'll have legs that will survive anything. Okay. So the first thing I created was this thing called Real Estate Profit Training. And I'll show you how I positioned it in a few minutes, but that's what began. We then created the webinar series because as the market turned around with industry experts, and now I live the Totalpreneur lifestyle here in Thailand. I travel all over the world, have a blast, and created something called the Excalibur Society, which I've been wanting to do for over 6 years. Where now we're taking people on trips all over the world, adventure trips. It is a membership only, invitation only group. And we meet 4 times a year in really cool places. For our first trip this year is going to be on September 5th to Nepal, where we'll be trekking to 3,000 meters, looking at the Annapurna Range. We'll be visiting ancient temples and monasteries. We will be whitewater rafting. We'll be riding elephants. I mean, it's going to be an amazing trip. If you want information on that, I'll be happy to share that with you. But that's what I'm able to create now because I started with online conferences. And the pictures you're seeing are real. Most of these are this year. This is actually, I take it back, within the past 12 months. This is Nepal. This is Myanmar, where there's over 4,000 temples that were built so many years ago, and it's just incredible. This is me actually doing the elephant on the left-hand side over here, just after I have my bath with the elephants in the river. And this is the kind of lifestyle you can live when you play. We are in an amazing time, guys. And it's time that you live the way you want to live. We have the greater ability to reach people than ever before at a cost that has never been cheaper, which is why I was able to do what I did with a very, very small budget and reap the results that I was able to reap. Here's the thing, okay? Right now, if you were to do a live event, and some people are like, well, let's just do a seminar. Great. You got to book a hotel room and pay for that hotel room. The days of the free hotel room are pretty much gone unless you've got a big room block and you negotiate really well. Things have changed. The freebie stuff isn't there anymore. So you take gigantic risk if you do things the old way. Okay, that's what's so amazing about right now. A month or two ago, there was a live event that was held in Atlanta. It was a multi-speaker summit. They called it the blah 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 summit. I won't tell you what it was called. I'm trying to protect the person that I'm about to expose. And this individual brought in a bunch of different speakers and told all the speakers that we're going to have probably 500 plus people at the event. It's going to be amazing. I've got an 800 person room block. It's going to be killer. And he had a giant room block. I mean, he believed that he was going to be infallible and win, 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 right? He had someone on the marketer's cruise promoting this event. And I mean, it was a lot of big talk. At the end of the day, I think there were less than 100 people that paid for it. And actually, I know the numbers were significantly less that actually paid to show up. They lost their room block. They lost the ability to actually use the conference rooms. They had to do it at an offsite location. There were speakers that flew across the country that never even got to speak on their own dime, by the way. It was a disaster. It was a disaster. Incredibly embarrassing. This particular individual will have a really hard time recovering any kind of credibility. Andrea said she heard about it. Yeah, of course you did. Probably from the same source that I heard about it from. I did not go to that event. I only heard in vivid detail what happened with that event from a variety of different people who were my friends who were those speakers. It was awful. And the risk to that is devastating. If you do an online event, even if you're failing, you're succeeding because no one knows how many people are there. You know, you press on, and as long as you're honest with the people that you're working with, you're a hero. Honesty these days, honesty is like unique. So you have much, much less risk at a cost that is ridiculously inexpensive and no global limitations. I do my online events from here in Thailand or anywhere else as long as I get good internet. Jocelyn says, what a sad story. It's the truth. It's the truth. Now, some people did really well at that event and made some tremendous connections. Live events are wonderful. But for us as promoters, for us as people that are trying to build credibility in the marketplace, it's far too risky. If it doesn't work, you're done. So doing an online event gives you so much more opportunity at a fraction of the risk and cost. Okay, which is why I won't do a live event unless I know it's my people that I'm bringing in. Meaning, like if I've got a tribe of 1,000 people and I run an in-person event, I know they're going to come because they're my people, right? You know, they're going to come because of you. They travel distances to go see you, Jocelyn, when you're traveling the world, right? So that's the idea. Is if you can control the environment, great. But if you can't, don't bother. It's just going to be really, really tough. The other thing with live event, by the way, is that you do have geographic limitations. I wanted to go to Infusion Con last week. I mean, it had been on my calendar for a year, but at the end of the day, I just wasn't willing to travel 24 hours in each direction, spend nearly $2,000 just on the flight, plus everything else to go spend 3 days in Phoenix. I just couldn't justify it. Okay. There's limitations. If you're doing an event in Atlanta, someone's not going to necessarily fly from Los Angeles or from Toronto. There's limitations. So we have no limitations when we do that. Here's the big thing. What other people do is they try to scratch their heads and figure it out and never get anywhere, and they have no focus. This is what they end up with. Without that focus, they end up with darts on the ground. What we do is we want to go right to the dartboard. Now, you may not get the center of that dartboard. You may not get the bullseye, but at least you're on the board. At least you're on the board. And the first time you run your first event, you may not be in that center. You may be somewhere around the edge, but you're on the board, and that's where I want you to be. Okay, so there's 3 keys. We're going to get started right now and jumping right into some of the heavy duty stuff. So be prepared to take a bunch of notes. I know I go fast. I'm excited about this. I got a lot I want to give you today. And by the way, my outline is very, very sparse because I'm just going to give you the content. I didn't lay out a gigantic outline. This is the real deal today. Okay. Not a pre-planned presentation. I'm telling you as friends what we're going to do. So the keys to online success is your positioning, are your partners, and how you promote. Plain and simple. Well, if your positioning is wrong and you don't structure it properly, you won't succeed to the degree that you could succeed. If you don't have the right partners in place and you got to choose them carefully, you're not going to get the results that you want. And unless you properly promote it, well, people aren't going to show up. So I want to give you a warning, and you're already experiencing this. I do get enthusiastic. Okay, I tend to sometimes talk quickly. I'm going to try and keep it as manageable as I can. But you're going to get excited too when you recognize what the possibilities and the potential is here, and you're going to want to jump in with me. So I just kind of give you fair warning that it does get exciting. Let's jump into the first key, which is your positioning. Okay, if you're going to do an event, what's this event going to be like, and who's it going to be for? Real important. All right. Now, when I first started doing my real estate events, I did it as with a great name, Real Estate Profit Training. It wasn't exactly terribly creative, but it was 10 webinars, 1 per week over 10 weeks with 10 experts. And we did really, really well. This was also like 3 or 4 years ago when it was still new. To do that today would be really hard. All right. Now, what was the problem with it? The problem, and I say problem, we made a lot of money. I mean, it jump-started my list. It was brilliant. But the challenge with it was that doing a 10-week program, what do you think happened by week 8 or 9? What do you think happened by week 8 or 9? Anybody want to jump in? Just pop in the chat. Tell me what do you think, what happened? We started off with a bang. We had great numbers. We had great enthusiasm. We were selling like hotcakes. Everyone was excited. And Andrea says people stopped attending. Yes, it fell off. Ed's right. They fell off. That was a challenge. Every week I was sending out more emails. Every week I was watching the numbers. In my head, this is what I told myself. This is a cancer. Now, that's not a very positive mental attitude, but I felt like I kept having to try to get more people to show up, and I kept having to push when, after a while, they were just tired of hearing from me. It was just getting old. So that was a problem. And the people that I thought the numbers would go up, they actually went down again because of just, it was getting tired. So I learned a bunch. We did this a few times. Okay, and I thought I could overcome that. But finally, after you hit your head against the wall for a few times, you're like, you know what? Maybe stopping is a good idea. So I've changed the rules about that, and I've recreated that and reinvented it. You'll hear about that in just a little bit. So positioning is really important. Another thing is how are you going to position yourself? Are you positioning yourself as the leader that's going out to curate, or you're positioning yourself as one of us? So I'll give you an example. With real estate, I've been doing real estate for 20 plus years at that point, right? So I brought in people that I knew were super good, and when I would introduce them, I would talk about why they were good, and I would jump into their webinars periodically to add a couple of things of my own. All right, so that was my positioning with them, as I was still the real estate guy. Very important, because you want to position yourself as much of an expert as possible. But then I decided I would expand the marketplace. And so I knew that real estate was good. I also knew that people that were investing in stock trading classes were rabid buyers of that stuff. I mean, they're greedy, right? People that are in the stock market, it's about the money. We're not generally talking about the passion of helping someone build a better life. We're buying the stock and selling it for a profit. So very, very different mindset. So I opened up something called Trading Profit Strategies, and that was going to be a 10-week program. And I know nothing about stocks, by the way. I mean, zero, nothing at all. I mean, if I invest in a stock, I will tell you that I do have a 100% success rate, 100% success rate of losing money. I mean, complete failure there. You know, if you give me money to invest for you in the stock market, you can guarantee you're never going to see it again. I mean, it's gone, right? So you may as well just donate that to the church or whatever charity that you like, because you'll get a much better result if you do that, right? So what I did was I positioned myself as I want to learn about it too. I assembled some of the top people in the world, and you get to listen with me. And so I positioned myself that way as one of them, and still became their friend. So that was one element of the positioning. But as you position yourself and as you position your event, is this a professional event? Is this an event that's consumer oriented? A lot of different opportunities here. Now, as you position it, how are you going to deliver it? And what I mean by that is I positioned, after I did the real estate profit thing, okay, I realized, of course, that 10 weeks was a hard time. And I said to myself, I said, self, we need to change this. What we're really doing is giving people a multi-speaker event, and effectively, why couldn't we just give them a live event, but instead of going to the hotel and spending money for the airfare and the hotel room, why not just do it over a weekend? Why not just put together the 10 speakers and deliver it over the Saturday and Sunday and just call it an online meeting, you know? And so I created our first summit, which was the World Info Mastery Summit. And actually, let me go ahead. I'll even show you the page for it. Whoops, it's not that one. It is right here. And we actually called it the Pizza and Profit Summit because we actually were trying to get a Guinness Book of World Records record to have our the biggest virtual pizza party in the world. So we try to create fun with that, right? So that was really Ed says he's just as good at that with stocks. Yeah, I love my success people. 100% loss ratio, right? But when we did World IN Summit, it was 3 days, 17 experts, worldwide pizza party, and we structured it in a very different fashion than anything we'd ever done before. And by creating this world event, it went really, really well, and we got it to be done in a weekend. I didn't have that 10 weeks. I didn't have that long drag that kept going, and our numbers went up every single day. And some of you were there. It was a lot of fun. And by the way, it was one of the most stressful weekends of my life because we went through so many challenges. I'll help you overcome some of those and give you a couple of hints on that and tips on that. But that's what we did with this particular event. It was dramatically different. Now, as we position things, and by the way, this model doesn't work so much anymore, at least not the same way. We've had to reinvent ourselves again because these online summits, the numbers are off. Everyone's doing them now. I don't know that I'm the one that created this model, but I know that I'm the guy that perfected it. A lot of people are copying us on that. Okay. So, yeah, Ed says I was the one about a year ago. It was awesome. Yeah, it was so much fun. And you build tremendous rapport with people, They can make you a ton of money. Now, as we talk about making money, and I'll get into the money piece of it. Actually, I'll get the money piece of it in just a couple of minutes. What you got to think about in your positioning is, are you doing a free event or are you going to do a paid event? Very important conversation. My real estate profit training began as a free event, and then we offered them the opportunity to give us money for the replays and transcripts. Now, by the way, a little hint. Nobody cares about the transcripts. They look good and they add value to the mix, so you want to offer them, but no one ever goes to the transcripts. How do I know that? Because about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 months after one of our events, I was looking in the members area and I noticed that there were links that weren't working, links for the transcripts, and not a single person had ever talked to our support people about where is the transcript. The broken links were there. Transcripts, they just didn't go to the transcript. No one ever complained. No one reads the transcripts. But my belief, you got to add them and offer them because it adds value to your deal. So that's what I do. That's my belief. Okay, Patrick, guess what's a transcript? Aha, Patrick. When this event is over right now, when I finish talking, I will give the recording to a transcriptionist. I've got a woman on staff that does it, Rose, who does our support. Also, will take this recording and she will transcribe it. She will write down word for word what I've said, and we put it into a document that is a transcript, so you can read the presentation rather than just listen to it. I like to read stuff because I'm faster at reading. I can. My eyes are much faster, and I'm a visual person. Okay, so transcripts have a huge amount of value, and I'll read it on my iPad, for example. Okay, So, do you want to do a free event versus a paid event? Okay, I'll give you an idea of a free event. Let's see. Here's a free event, and by the way, this is live right now. This is the personaltransformationsummit.com. And by the way, not a great sales page at all. This is an example of kind of like what not to do. Does speech to text work? No, not really, Ed, because you're going to find that people that you got multiple speakers and each person speaks at a different pace. It's not going to work. You get a transcription. And a transcript of this, Tasha, I'm not offering you a transcript of this at all. Thank you. Not even offering a recording of this. Transcripts cost you money to do, by the way, but they're of value. The thing is, like I said, nobody looks at them. So if you offer them, that's great, but don't expect people are going to look at them. Anyway, so this is an event right now, and this is a free event. Here's the problem with the free event. Or let me ask you this. I shouldn't say the problem. This event is another free event, the free summit. Okay, this is the Food Revolution Summit. Here's the Tapping World Summit. Gorgeous page. And we'll get into a little bit of detail on that. But here's my question for you. The quality of the person that comes to this event in terms of dollar value of this person, what do you think the dollar value of the person relates to on an event that they come to for free versus an event where they got to pay to attend? Two questions here. The dollar event, yeah, is much lower. The person that comes to that free event is a much different buyer than to a paid event. In fact, it's not a buyer. The freebie expects free, exactly right. So you'll get a much bigger number, but you're not going to get the same quality buyer. Now, this is the 6th Annual Tapping World Summit. This thing, I got to tell you, completely blew my mind. And I share this with you because this will show you that anything you do, you got a market for. Okay? Energy tapping, EFT. I heard about this years ago at a Tony Robbins event. I used to travel around the world with Tony. I spent nearly $100,000 a year with Tony. We took the Orient Express from Paris to Venice and on and on. I mean, I did a lot of time with Tony and learned a lot. Okay. And I learned about this energy tapping thing, which I thought was very interesting. By the way, it's really, really cool and it works. It's amazing how strong this is. So I get this email about this energy tapping summit, and I'm like, you can't be possibly serious. This is EFT. This is that wacky stuff. Well, this guy is doing really well, and this has been 6 years, and they've got thousands of people that are signing up for this thing, thousands, to come to Nick Ortner Summit. So if he can make this thing work with energy tapping, trust me, you can be successful as well. And he's got a free thing. Now his market is consumers. Are you ready to tap all your problems? So but if they were going to come in on this, you're going to be hard pressed to sell something to your consumer as much as you would be to go ahead, offer it free, and then upsell them to the recordings later on. Okay, I did not work with Eric Lofholm, Ryan, at that time. So in any event, there's a difference whether you're going to go free or not. So I'll give you an example here. World IM, there was a tuition to it. Okay, actually in this case, we did this one free. Excuse me. And again, the challenge was they weren't buyers. I had a bigger audience, built a bigger list, but it wasn't a list of buyers of qualified people. Okay, we then went to World Speaker Summit. World Speaker Summit, and this is this is the sales page for that. The World Speaker Summit, we charged for it. Okay, and we likened it like a live event. So no travel required. We did that. It was very important to show them that it's different than a hotel event. 33 hours of a content. Who was it for? And we went down, we built all the benefits, and here's the cost. The normal rate is $597, but for a limited time, you can get it for $297. So we offered them, and then we offered them coupon codes. Okay, so we even dropped the price down to as low as $97. And then, of course, we offered them with their tuition. They got the transcripts that you see a visual of here, and of course, there's the actual CDs. Now, we didn't print CDs; it was all digital. Don't print CDs unless you're going to charge a lot more money for them, because the cost to do that for 33 hours, for example, is very, very expensive. So you don't offer that unless you're going to charge much more for that. We do digital download, and no one had a problem with it. Okay, and then we offer bonuses. So effectively, we gave them, and when they paid $297, we gave them a $200 credit to buy anything at that event over X dollars. So we actually made money up front on day one. Make sense? By the way, our numbers were much less. It was freaking me out. I got to tell you, I was like, oh my God, no one's buying. But what happened was the number of buyers that paid for the actual tuition were very similar to the people that bought the upsell off the free event, and they bought more at the actual event. They were a better quality customer. So we had less people and more money. So you got to think about your positioning about, are you doing a free event? Are you going to do a paid event? And what's your intention? Are you doing lead gen? If that's the case, then you might want to consider doing the free model. And who's your market? Because here's the thing. We created the World Chiro Conference for chiropractors. And if I did it as a free event, what value do you think the chiropractor would attribute to this particular conference? Would there be value at all to them? Or would they say it's free, it's worth what we're paying for? So you got to be really careful with what you're doing and how you're doing it. Does that make sense? And this requires some serious consideration, because you want to do things right. If you lay it out the wrong way from the very beginning, you're destined to not meet really the potential of what you're looking for. Okay, so that's your positioning. Additionally, when you position yourself, it comes down to your graphics. It comes down to how you're beginning the process. So in this case, with World Chiro, which was the last big summit we did, to help you get the results you want in your practice, 18 of the world's leading practice building experts. And somehow, I have no idea how this went. I didn't change this for this event, but for some reason, this graphic is backwards. It's not experts practice building, it's practice building experts. I have no clue how that happened. It went for the entire event backwards like that. I kid you not. No idea how that happened. But the 18 of the world's leading practice building experts, and I'm a proofreader, I missed this, want to ask you 3 questions. So here's the questions. This brought in complete involvement right away. This is how we began the relationship with them. Okay, it was not sign up for this free event. It was, what do you want more? Getting more patients, getting existing patients, and so on. And this, by the way, referred to all the things that we teach. So let's say it's getting more patients. And there's a reason why we did this. This all comes down to positioning here, you guys. So they answered the first question. Then I asked them who they were. Why did I do this? Because the rest of the actual sales page was going to be, if they said they were a chiropractor, all the languaging in it was directed to chiropractors and to doctors. If they said they were a chiropractic assistant, then it would talk about their doctor and their being a CA, chiropractic assistant, you see. So we designed the page specifically for them. Same thing this way. If they're in business for less than 2 years or over 6 years, what I'm going to say to them is different. The pitch to them is different. The conversation in their mind is different. Less than 2 years is like, when am I going to be able to start making money? Over 6 years is, how can I build sanity back in my life? And how can I get my practice to succeed against some of these new guys or whatever, right? So all the languaging would be different based upon what they answer. So I had multiple pages, and they were created on the fly. We put a lot of technology into this to be able to give them language in their actual page. Make sense? We positioned this for them specifically to meet who they were. You got it? Big difference with what anybody else does. They're throwing stuff against the wall. We wanted to be professional within that marketplace. That's exactly what we did, right? So that's a giant chunk of some of the basics with your positioning. We'll get into our partners in just 1 second here. Are you saying that we have multiple? Actually, Andrea, we began with multiple sales pages, but what we actually did was we did some dynamic programming, so that if they answered, if they were like one of the 18 options, then they got that fill in those areas. So there were a lot of if statements. Okay, but yeah, we did it. You could do it multiple pages, and all we did, what I did is I went through my sales copy, and where I talked about your doctor or your practice, I would say with the new people, your new practice, as opposed to your existing, or I would then say, we know you've been in business for a lot of years. Here's what people that have been in business for a lot of years have had to say. So we did make it specific for where they were. Now think about this. How much more successful is your marketing if you're talking to them as them, to who they are and what they need, versus just come to this free event or come to this event and we'll throw stuff at you. So we designed it for them. And by the way, you'll see here it says $4,000 in bonuses. They were real bonuses. Let me get to the next piece over here, because I'm gonna get lost in all the online stuff. Okay, so the first key is positioning. Any other questions on that before I jump ahead? Okay, cool. Let me just keep going then. All right. So your second key is your partners. If you don't have the right partners, you will not succeed. Your partners are fundamentally important to you. Who are your partners? You have 2 types of partners. So write this down. The first partner are the people that are going to be speaking for you. I call them partners because they are your partner. The second partner are going to be your affiliates and people that will sell this event and get paid with you. you're not going to be able to get this done without either of them, especially because the actual people that are going to speak for you will be your affiliates inherently. So let's talk about this for a second. How do you find your partners? That's the first question people always ask me. How'd you get these guys? Well, let's use this particular conference as an example because World Chiro Conference was remarkable at what I was able to create. And I want you to understand, I'm not a chiropractor. I've gone to chiropractors in the past, but that's it. I know I kind of understand what chiropractic is, but I never knew what the heck a subluxation was. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. It's the term for what chiropractors deal with in their business. Okay. But I knew nothing about that. I did know that I wanted to break into that marketplace because chiropractic marketing flat out stinks right now. And there's so many great opportunities to go and help them. And I'm a marketing strategist. So it was the marketplace I wanted to go into with my Boost Your Practice brand. But again, I knew no chiropractor. Well, I knew one chiropractor, and of course, plus the guy that I was like seeing as a chiropractor. But I didn't know any of the gurus in chiropractic. How did I find them? Well, the first thing I did was I put my team, and I have a team that works with me in the Philippines. So I outsourced this. So that's code for outsourcing. When I talk about super team, that's my team. I said, I want you to do some research. I want you to go look online and find out who's doing chiropractic training. And I wanted to find the top trainers in chiropractic, and I was going to invite them to come and speak at this event, just as I would invite them to speak at an event at a hotel someplace. And so we found a bunch of different targets all over the world. And some people told us to pound sand. Some people were like, we don't do webinars. Some people were like, how much are you going to pay me? I mean, we had a lot of very, very short sighted people. Amazingly, it blew my mind. I ended up, and some people were like, "Oh gosh, I can't wait! This sounds great." One of them, notably, Dr. Marcus Chakas from Adelaide, Australia. Cool. And I wanted people from all over the world. And Marcus went from a losing money practice to being a gigantic success. What a great story to tell and to inspire our audience, right? So, how do you get these people? Well, and how do you find them? That was the way to find them. How do you get them to play? You got to get somebody on board first. So it's always going to take a first person. The person whose face you see on the screen right now in this video is a friend of mine, and he's a chiropractor. And I got to tell you that in working with this gentleman, he made everything possible for me. How is that? How is that possible? I mean, how did that happen? Well, he and I worked together at the Harv-Eker organization. Dennis Cummins, brilliant guy. And I called Dennis, and he was a chiropractor. And actually, it's because my friend Chris Gilbertson told me and reminded me he was a chiropractor. And I called Dennis and I said, you want to play? He said, of course, absolutely. I would love to. Because he had just written a book and he was doing a lot of motivational stuff and runs 2 chiropractic practices in New York, spends 2 hours a week there and makes money. So exactly the person that the audience would want to hear. And Andrew said he's a great trainer. He is. He's awesome. He's a really cool guy. So I got Dennis on the phone. Dennis said, yes, I'm thrilled. Can't wait. It'll be great. So he was on board. Then I said, the most important words you're ever going to say to a speaker. Who else would you recommend to be on the program with us? Us, not you, us. Okay. And he said one name. He said, you got to get Dr. Fab Mancini. He's amazing. He's great. I said, what makes him so special? He said, Fab was the president of Parker University, which is like the largest chiropractic university college in the world. He's a really cool guy. He's a great trainer. He's a gem. I said, great. Do you have his information? He said, no. He said, I just saw him at an event. I thought he was great. He'd be perfect for you. I said, okay. So how do I find him? He said, well, just got to, go Google him. I mean, that's what I got. I didn't get the phone number and say, you're my friend. Nothing. He didn't even know the guy, but he gave me the reference. Generally speaking, you're going to get something like, yeah, either I'll call the guy for you or here's his number. Okay. But I didn't have any of that. And I'm telling you that because you won't have any of that when you first get started too. And I began, mind you, I've been doing this for a long time, but I started out with Chiro Conference at ground zero. I'm telling you that because you can do the same thing. So I called him. I went online. I got to step back. I went online. I saw fabmancini.com. Wouldn't you know, he had his phone number on there. And by the way, if the phone number isn't on the site, you can go to the Who Is search and find a phone number there in many ways. And if you can't do that, you send a message to the support line or whatever. But you can reach out to them. You can do that. Anyway, I left him a voicemail. And wouldn't you know it, a couple days later, over the weekend, he calls me back. We were on the phone for at least an hour. Easily an hour. And that began a very long-term, deep, and I mean deep friendship, deep to the degree that at 10 o'clock at night, we're on the phone talking on Skype. and we're doing a lot of video Skypes. And he'll call me from the car on Skype or on iMessage. Fab and I became fast and great friends. Why? Because he's committed to the chiropractic profession. He sensed my sincerity about wanting to help them. He loved the idea that we're doing something virtual that has not really been done in chiropractic before. This was the first virtual conference he'd ever seen, and loved the concept. He knew that there was a need for something new, and he loved also the idea that I'm not one of them, that I'm a fan, and for a fan to want to support the team, he was all over it. So he said, well, how can I help you? I love those words. How can I help you? I said, well, Fab, I don't, who do you think we should bring on? He said, I'll get you hooked up. And so Fab had brought in Heidi Farrell. Heidi Farrell said, how can I help? I said, well, I don't know. Who do you know? She said, well, I specialize in chiropractic assistance and so on. I said, Heidi, how about if we did this? How about if we did a separate day just for the chiropractic assistants because they have different needs than the doctors? She goes, oh my God, that'd be great. Can I coordinate that for you? I mean, oh my gosh, is that not like a gift from the heavens? Fab Mancini brought me Dr. Larry Markson. Dr. Larry Markson is a legend in chiropractic training. So is Dr. David Singer. Okay. I mean, and Larry was the gentleman of all gentlemen. Now, Larry had nothing to sell. Nothing to sell. Now, remember, each of these speakers needs to sell something to be able to pay the bills. Why did I let him stay on the platform? For two reasons. Reason number one, well, you answer the questions. Why would I keep him on the platform if there's nothing to sell? Remember, I'm trying to raise revenue on this. Each of the speakers has something that they can offer. Why did I want him? In fact, he's on the top row, so he's in a position of prominence. Why did I have him on my platform? Can anybody tell me? Two big reasons. Who he knows, excellent. Yes, that's one good one. Not the exact one, but close. As he says, his reputation, absolutely. He gave me prominence. Andrea says his list, exactly. His influence, exactly right. It was his list and his influence. His list, responsive list. He has a tribe of followers that will walk through fire for him. They love him. And when Larry says jump, they say how high. I mean, he's great. He's the most wonderful, genuine guy, and he'll tell you the truth. I mean, he's wonderful. And he dedicated his time to this event. He mailed for us a number of times. He promoted. It was tremendous, tremendous. And by having him on there, gave us the credibility that we needed to continue. So we had Fab, we had him, then David Singer came on board, and it was like dominoes. They just, Larry's with you? I'm in. I mean, it was great. And I was a nobody. No one knew who I was. You put me in real estate, you put me in internet marketing, you put me all these places I've been around for a while. People know me. I got a reputation. Here, I was an unknown. Thank you, Fab Mancini. And thank you, Dennis Cummins, for sending me to Fab. Okay? So the point is, you can do all this. These are your partners. There are some rules of the road for these partners. They got to promote. They got to have a list that's responsive. You lay out the foundation. And some of them, if they don't promote, you kick them off your program. When I was doing some of the real estate stuff, I had people that stole from me. And when I say stole, they came onto my platform, they sold, but they never once mailed. So they took advantage of my platform, of my stage, because of my virtual stage here. Okay, and they'll never speak for me again, because if you don't promote, I kick you off the platform. You got to do what you say you're going to do. Okay, and you need to be mercenary about that. Okay, now one of the other questions people always ask is, why would I do this? In this case, with chiropractic, they were very causal. The speakers were very, very causal. But when you get to more mercenary type of environments, like the real estate people, the stock people, and so on, they'll say, well, why do I want to do this? And the answer is very, very simple. And this is what I was saying in my promotion. I said, you get the opportunity to sell to 9 of your top competitors' lists. Think about that for a minute. Why would I promote for you? Because 9 other people are promoting too, and you're going to get the benefit of getting their list access and promoting to their people, which they may never do an individual JV with you, but I got them on the same platform, so I got you 9 people that you might not have been able to get on your own. And they're like, oh yeah, it's a good idea. So you come from that element of prosperity and let them live in their element of scarcity, and they sign up. Okay, I built a list of people here, my faculty, that were brilliant. Now, Doug Bench is not a chiropractor. He's a brain guy. He helps you with your performance. Chris Gilbertson talks about podcasting. Now, she's had a lot of chiropractic clients, but she's a podcaster. She's great. Now, why is that important? Because they need to do podcasts for their marketplace. It's for their promotion. So I brought people in from all over. Casey Eberhardt, same kind of a thing. Leveraging your digital assets. Blaine and Honey Parker are branding people. Okay. Ted Miller. Ted brought me Scott Hallman. Okay. So Kasha Nievenhoven came in from somebody else. Burnoff's a great friend of mine, genius guy on performance and persuasion strategies. I mean, great. I brought these people in and they did well and they promoted, you see. So that's the cool thing. And they had great product to sell. Okay. About product, what do you sell? Well, let's talk about the math. You guys want to talk about the math for a second? Let me take you to the math because it's really kind of important. Because as you're looking at this, I want you to get a foundation about this. So in my book, I do events where I want to get paid upfront because I want to get paid right away. I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, making money, it's kind of up there like oxygen. What do you think? You guys good about that? So let's just go ahead and do a really, I don't want to say low end, but just an entry level price tag. Like I said, with chiropractic, I did 297. And I don't think anybody paid less than 297 for that one. In some cases, we've done like a 297 price tag with a $200 credit towards purchases or a $200 coupon code, so they may pay $97 to come in. But let's just say we sell our event for $97, plain and simple. All right, $97. Let's say we don't market terribly well. Now, by the way, these guys have to market for us. The speakers do, and then of course we have affiliates that'll market too, and they're going to get paid for selling that. And we have a full affiliate program built in. And by the way, with our affiliates, we use an instant pay platform, so I don't have to worry about paying them later. I don't have to worry about where the money is. They're paid today. Let me ask you a question. If you were going to get paid today for people that were signing up on a mailing that you sent today, would you want to mail today versus mail somebody else that's going to pay you in 45 days? Right? So instant pay works really, really well. And we've had our own proprietary platform for a few years now, and it's just genius. And by the way, I can hook you up with something that's very similar to what we're doing. So it's really important for your success. Okay. So let's say we do kind of a half-ass job. All right. We sell only 100 seats. And by the way, when I say seats, I'm talking virtual seats. Okay. So that means that you've grossed $9,700. Okay. Let's see if I can actually type this in the right fashion. So that's your gross revenue. And by the way, I'm going to round some of these numbers. This does not include the merchant fees that you'd pay to PayPal or your merchant account. Okay, we're just going to keep things simple for math. Okay, so if you had affiliates that were doing that for you, if it wasn't coming from Facebook ads, if it wasn't coming from anything else that you're doing, you would keep 50%. You'd pay out 50% plus or minus. Okay, so 50% you're keeping, which means that you keep a whopping total of $4,850 right now. Immediately, the minute they start mailing. Okay, so from a time frame standpoint, what we're looking at is probably about 60 days because you got to do your research, you got to get people on board, you got to build your website, and then you can start promoting. So at the very earliest, I would say about 60 days, you got nearly $5,000 in hand. Cool. And by the way, if you're only doing 100 seats, I would say you're not doing well enough. But I'm just going to keep things low because I don't want to blow smoke. I want to talk to you about real numbers. Okay. So now if you got 100 people that are there, okay, that are going to be attending, right? And they paid, right? So they're gonna come watch your event whether they watch it live or on replay because you're going to a lot of people that are still going to watch the replay. All right. Now a normal conversion rate that we look for on a webinar. Okay. And by the way, in terms of your positioning, whether you're going to do it on GoToWebinar or a platform of Google Hangout, entirely up to you, right? But a normal conversion would be like 10%. That's what we're looking for. I've got people that will do 20. I've done as much as 35%. Love that. But if you run 10% as an average, that's a good number. But I'm going to cut that back to 7.5% just today to be a little bit more conservative. We'll cut it by 25%. So that means that if you got 100 people in each of the sessions, that means that you're going to sell 7.5 products or services, whatever you're selling, per session. All right. We'll keep things easier for us. We'll just call it over the life of the event, since we have 10 sessions. And by the way, I like doing more, as you've seen. Sometimes I've got 18 or 20 because I'm doing things over 3 days. But if you just did 10, just 10, okay, that means that you've got 75 sales. All right. Now, what's your average product price? Okay. Now, that's an important question. What's your price range going to be? I had price ranges from $97 up to $2,500 in the beginning. Okay. Now my average is about $500. Okay. We'll see things ranging anywhere from $197 up to about $500. I'm sorry, up to about $1,000. The market's different. Okay. So Ryan's at 97 to 147. My friend Marissa Murgatroyd does these superhero summits. She does an amazing job, and she uses Google Hangouts as her platform in most cases. Her average product price, we talked about this at length, she and I, she prices nothing more than $200. She's at $200 average. That's her max. Everything's $200. She wanted to make, and I said, why would you do that? She said, I want to make it affordable so that nobody was going to be freaked out and feeling that I was pricing them out. So her audience, obviously not a giant wealthy audience. My numbers are closer to 500. Okay. Excuse me. But let's say your average price is $200, which means that you have 75 sales at $200, means that you've got a whopping $15,000 of sales at the event. All right. Again, if you're splitting that with your speaker, that means that you're keeping $7,500 in product sales. And again, round numbers. All right. So you're keeping $7,500. Not too shabby for your first event, right? Nice. That means your total upfront revenue, is $12,350. Okay. Now, again, everyone's going to be different. Some will do more, some will do less. Okay. All right. So now we're not doing a teleseminar. We're doing a webinar based thing. You can do a teleseminar if you want. I do webinars. I do webinars for a variety of reasons. Now, teleseminars are so much easier. You don't have to create video. You don't have to create visuals. But because people are visually oriented, a lot of people are based on their own way they process data. I want visual. And plus, you got a chat thing. You're much more involved and much more engaged in a video presentation. That's how I prefer to do things. Okay, that's my model. You can do it. You can do a teleseminar summit thing if you want. A lot of people have been very successful with it. That's just not how I choose to do it. Okay, now that's your beginning. A nice frame. Let me stop for a second and share with you why this number is important. I talked to you earlier about our trip to Nepal. A lot of people said to me, Ken, I would love to come, but I don't have the $5,000 to come to the trip. Now, it's 14 days, $5,000, a really, really super deal. I mean, it really is. It's a super deal, but it's $5,000, and a lot of people said they couldn't make it. So I had to think to myself, what would I do if I was to start over again to generate about 10 grand within 90 days? Because the trip is in September. And it took me all of about 2 seconds to say, we put on a show. We do a Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland show. We put on a show and people would show up and they'd come, and they will. And I looked at the numbers. I was like, yeah, we could easily do 10 grand in 90 days. I mean, my God. So in this case, the model doing things kind of mediocre is 12 grand. And we're just getting warmed up. This is just the beginning. So what we're doing, yes, we are live. We are live. To answer your question, William. Okay. We're very much alive. And by the way, we'll talk about the live versus recorded in a few minutes. So remind me about that if you would, William. Okay. Anyway, so that's $12,000 up front. That pays for Nepal. Okay. So that's why I created this. And really decided to pull back the kimono on exactly what I've done, what I would do again if I was starting over again. Okay. Now, people stop here. This is where they stop, which is really, really dumb. But that's what they do. They stop right there. Why? I don't know. What do? I do a follow-up 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later. Follow-up. Now, truthfully, I did this by mistake. Well, not by mistake. I did this by necessity. Why? I had too many speakers. I signed up too many people to speak, and they were all promoting. So I was like, okay, promote. And some people were like, I can't work that weekend. I can't do it that weekend. Can we do something else? I said, well, you know what? How about if we do a Saturday 2 weeks later as a follow-up session, and we'll have like 4 speakers on that Saturday. So I had more speakers that 2 weeks later, and we sold more stuff. Okay. Now I'm not going to give you numbers for that. You can just add some more dollar signs there, but we sold obviously a bunch more stuff there. So say if you have 4 speakers, you can do your own summary, and do a group interaction that positions you better again. Remember, you're positioning yourself by introducing every single speaker. You are the host of this event. You don't have to be, but you want to be if you want to build your business. Because the next piece of it is to remember what your purpose is, and that is to generate paying. Let me spell things right. New paying clients for your business. Okay. Now, what the heck am I talking about here? Well, they're coming and they're buying, but they're buying other people's stuff. So really all you've done so far is created a glorified affiliate program. Truly. You've not really necessarily built your business until now. Yes, they bought the replays and everything. They bought the seat, but I want them long term for me. I want them part of my tribe. I want to be able to make a difference in life, to have a customer that's my own. You follow what I'm saying? The objective was to build this. Well, what do? You create a tribe, aka a coaching program. And it's revolving around, obviously, the subject matter that they are already part of. So if it's chiropractors, it will be the chiropractic success program. In this case, it was boost your practice. Okay. And we will create different coaching levels. Let's say that we created a coaching level and we sold 10 people and we offered a $3,000 a year package. Okay. And they can pay it off. They can pay it monthly. Okay. At X dollars a month. In this case, it's like $250 a month. All right. If you want to do a monthly, but 10 people at $3,000 is $30,000 more. And by the way, do you split this with your speakers or affiliates? Answer me. Go in the chat. Do you split this, or is this all yours? Andrea says we don't split it. Exactly. It's yours. You don't split your back end. It's all yours. So the front end revenue, which is where everyone thinks they're making their money, and they're like, I didn't do very well. I only made, a few $1,000s. That's ridiculous. If you're not selling the back end here, you're missing the boat. Plain out, you're missing the boat. This is your intention right here. You could practically give the whole thing away just to get this. But we want to make sure that we make profit on day one. Does it make sense? So it's going to be yours. This is the holy grail right here, you guys. This is it right here. You structure it. You give people an amazing experience that they love. You make a couple of dollars up front. And I'm saying $12,000 is a couple of dollars. Obviously, it's more than just a couple of dollars. But at the end of the day, the real money's here. And by the way, we're just getting warmed up, because you still have people that have come in, that have opted in. You got people that have come to your website that haven't bought, that you pick up on retargeting, that you sell low-end stuff. We're just getting warmed up. But the other thing we haven't talked about is, what about selling the replays as a product, or a bonus for anything else that they buy from you. You see, so you've got content up the yin yang right now. You have hours and hours and hours of recorded information that can be broken into small YouTube snippets to be put on YouTube to sell other things. You can take parts and do special reports. It's all yours. It's all yours. So if you do what we do, or I'll show you what Marissa's doing, because I just love her graphics. Where is she here? I think she is. Here we go. Yeah, this is after her event, and I Googled it again. I went back to her site, and she's got a place for the replays, and here she's got her store, and this is her site. She did a really beautiful job. I mean, she just did a really, really beautiful job, but she's still missing a few things. I don't see where she's presenting herself, but I don't see a coaching program that she's selling. So I think it's still a great option for her. And while she's got a team of great people here, I think she could bounce her numbers up. But she's done a beautiful job, and that's her theme, is all the superhero stuff. Okay, and her market is internet marketers. Okay, so she's doing the same thing. She's got the transcripts like we've done. She's got the stuff here, and she's at $297. And smartly, yes, I want it now, as opposed to, buy here. Okay, she's done a really, really nice job. You could do all the same thing. But I want to show you what works. What doesn't work is this madness. I mean, there's no reason to show up. This is like, now mind you, I began a bit better than this, but I didn't begin pretty. Okay, I didn't begin pretty. The speakers want to use their presentations too. They can. I give them the right to use their presentations. Why wouldn't I? I'm on the presentation with them. So I totally want the speakers to use their presentations. Absolutely, I do. Why? Because it promotes me and it promotes the event. So absolutely, I want the speakers to have that and use it. And if they sell the recordings, hell yeah, absolutely. Hey, I was at a giant program that Fab was on. My friend Fab was on, and Fab sent out an email selling the recordings as an affiliate of Hay House. Why wouldn't you do that? Okay, so let's jump to the third key, because we're running a bit tight on time here. Promotion. And I showed you a lot of the promotion stuff already inherently. Okay, I promote with my speakers, plain and simple. I promote with my speakers. That's what I do. I also promote with affiliates. And let's see if I can find the one way I did this was trying to do a Guinness Book of World Records. But here we go. This was the affiliate side. So I did a video for the speakers and the affiliates. I gave them all their affiliate swipes. I told them how they were going to get paid. and I paid them instantly. And I did something very different. I call this the InstaPay hybrid comp plan. I'm the only one that's ever done this. People didn't understand it, but boy, it made more money for the speakers and made more money for me. And what we did is we gave them 40% on the all access pass. That was the tuition, and gave them 50% on the sales of the products. We gave them two different ways, and then we also gave the affiliates 10% on the sales that they made. So it was really interesting. In other words, that the affiliates got a 40% commission, so that they would that way there was room to get paid. So it was really really smart. Okay, and then we give them rules. What does it take? Okay, you got to have a product or service. You have to have at least 10,000 active members. Got to be willing to mail to your list. No BS here. Straight out. We've taken people off the program who aren't team players. Your speaker position will be partially determined by how well you do by promoting. Okay, you got to be able to sell well. You got to be able to. My number five. You got to be fun to work with. If you're not interested in a fun and lucrative relationship, what's wrong with you? That's what it says. Otherwise, this won't be a match. I mean, use your personality to win, because people are doing business with you, and I want them to come back. Now, in this case, I did not add my testimonials. And in some of the other ones, I had testimonials from some speakers that were like, I love working with Ken. It was great. I didn't add that here. Usually I do, but in this case, I just didn't. And I can't really tell you why. I think someone just said, it's too much work. Don't put it on. But it didn't hurt us, because people came in because, they were told to come in. And again, putting the faculty in on the page, really good. Now, what I did in some cases, what I said was, if someone hadn't committed, faculty we've invited are. So that way you can put somebody in there that has not yet committed, and if they're like, why is my picture on there? Well, it's because I've invited you. Well, take me off. Okay. So by telling the truth that they've been invited and maybe haven't committed, you still create the momentum of the perception that these people are coming. And by the way, I did give Fab a featured position here, for two reasons. First of all, it filled the space. Okay. And secondly, because I needed an extra slot filled. But secondly, I really wanted to reward him, and I made him a keynote. And in that marketplace to chiropractors, that was important. So again, it's all your strategy. Okay. And that's the way I promoted. These days, I would do a lot more online. I didn't do very much with social media. Today, I would do a lot more with social media. A lot more with social media. Okay. That's how we ended up promoting. We relied a lot on the speakers. Today, I would do a lot more on my own and not rely on the speakers. I was also fastidiously watching numbers. These are numbers from one of my first events, from the real estate event. I was watching things by time. I was checking. I mean, I was like an expectant father. 7:52 p.m., 8:15 p.m. Whoops. I was also, by the way, monitoring what times of day I was getting better results. So I saw my visitors, my opt-ins, my opt-in rates. Look at my opt-in rates. This was for a free event, by the way. Okay. But then there were the sales. So we went from here to, they came in for free, and then they immediately were offered the replays immediately. And this is how the sales kind of ramped up. We went 4 to 5 to 6, all the way up to like 74. And that was like nearly a 7% rounded conversion rate. Okay. So that was my beginning. And I want to say that I forget the pricing on it, but that's how I was doing. But look at my opt-ins. Over 1,000 people already opting in, building my list, you see, of people that were targeted and brought to me from solid people. Sam says, this is awesome. Um, Sam said, I bought in for Nepal. Wow, this is cool. He says, I went in for Nepal. I bought into Mark Deswani's PLR marketplace, that you had a webinar a few weeks ago. This is so much better, more fun and rewarding. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, wait, let's get you warmed up, because this is just the beginning. Wait, where are we? Okay, so let me first of all tell you about what we're going to do for you guys, and where we are. Because what I really did was I had to create a program that was going to help you guys get to Nepal, and really make those numbers. Because otherwise, we have people that want to go to Nepal, and they'll be and want to go for a long time. And I've got a lot of people that have said to me, Ken, I want to do better in my business, but I need to get the jump start. Where do I go? So I've created a program, and actually rephrase that. I'm creating a program for you, because it's going to be like a live, here's what we're going to do program. What it will do for you? Well, first I'm going to tell you what it is. And by the way, this is not going to be the best so-called pitch, because this is relatively on the fly. This is the third time I've actually talked about this. And William says, that's because you're the man, Ken. Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to create, I am going to create the Totalpreneur Summit. And it's not going to be a summit. It's going to be called, now I'm going completely blank. What the heck are we calling it? We're not doing summits, because summits are overdone. We're repositioning this all, and we're calling it an intensive. And so we'll create an intensive, which will be a specifically oriented training for totalpreneurs, and we're going to use that as my model. And I'm going to do that at the end of July, beginning of August. I haven't chosen the dates yet, and I'm not choosing the dates yet because you're going to get to do it with me. What we're going to do is we're going to do a reality TV sort of thing where you will sign on, you'll join me, and we will go and build a summit. I will build mine and you will build yours. We'll meet twice a week for at least an hour each time, depending upon what we need to go through. And we will go through every single week. Here's what you got to do. And you will have work to do. If you don't do the work, I will kick your ass, plain and simple, nicely, but I will do it and I will kick your butt. You will do this and you will be successful because I want you coming to Nepal. It's that simple. And I want to be able to brag about you. I had never really wanted to do it, to plan doing this kind of a training. That was never my intention. But I know I needed to do it to get people to Nepal. So we're going to meet twice a week for as long as it takes to get there. You will do your event end of July, beginning of August. Why? Because you got to pay for Nepal by the beginning of August. Okay? So we got to get it done. Plus, if you go longer, you're wasting time. I want momentum. So I will work with you guys as a group, a small group, no more than about 10 people is the way I perceive this right now. And we will do the deal. We will get the job done. And you will get to copy me and rip me off, okay? Because I want you successful. There's no other way to do this. To do it right is for us to do it together. So that way you're being completely coached. This is the highest level coaching I probably have ever done because we're doing something together as our own project together. So if you show me your sales copy, if you gave me, let me put it this way, if you gave me a page like this guy, I'd scream at you. First of all, I wouldn't let you do it. You'd never do that. Okay. I want you having pages like this with the bottom line right here that gets people involved. Okay. I want you doing pages like what we've got here. Well, is this the right one? Yeah. Like right here where you got a video. And I had all the speakers, by the way, give me a little video slip, like a 2-minute video clip of why people should come to the event. And I put it all together. I edited this whole thing myself. And now if you go to worldchiroconference.com, opt in, you'll see it live. It's great. And it made a difference. We had all the speakers gave us bonuses, real bonuses. You'll get all my stuff. You learn why, by the way, you want to have it. I like doing them live, but you will learn why you don't want some of your speakers live. Why you've must have some pre-recorded ones. Okay, pre-recorded ones, and that answers your question, William. Let's see. Sam says, I got no list, no significant marketing experience, website. Exactly. That's why you got to do this. That's why being with me is going to be so dang important. Okay. So this is going to be a reality marketing experience. So you're going to look over my shoulder, see what I do, and completely copy me in your own niche. Okay. Now, how do you know that it's right for you? Well, first of all, what we're going to do for you is we're going to get yourself positioned as an expert. So you're going to shave months, if not years, off your self-promotion and piggyback on your faculty and their influence. That's what I did. In chiropractic, no one knew who the hell I was, but they saw my name everywhere. We had sponsors, by the way. I forgot to mention this about sponsors. We had the #1 chiropractic magazine sponsoring us. They mailed for me twice. Their list was like over 100,000 chiropractors. Oh my God, what do you got to pay for that sucker? They did it for me for free. What did I have to do for them? I had to put their logo on our promotion and on our website. Oh my God, what the heck is that worth, right? It was amazing. We had some of the state associations that were doing it too. Bass Fishing School and Training, the Bass Fishing Conference, the Bass Fishing, you could totally do that. Why not? Bass fishers are passionate. If that's what your market is, I'm only going to recommend that you do something that is actually what you want to build. Don't do it just because it's going to make you a profit this month. Do it for something that you want to build long term. That's my advice to you. You're going to make money a lot faster because you earn money the minute you send out your first email. They sign up, right? So that's going to be important. You have to create the power and the influence you need in the marketplace so you can sell those back-end offers which multiply your profits. And you don't split those profits. Okay? That's really, really important. You'll be able to multiply your effectiveness. So you don't have to work so hard. Okay? And then you can generate the income that you desire. All right? William says, I'm way into that, right? You can make a bigger impact and build your tribe faster. This is really important because by leveraging everyone else's lists, you get to connect with them in a much better way. And by the way, because people are recommending you, it's a warm lead, not a cold lead. You follow? Makes you a lot more money much faster. It's the quality of the people that are coming in that's really important. And the way I call it, it's stacking the benefits. So you can completely leverage their influence and their list, like I said, to make money like hotcakes, much more effectively than you could otherwise. I created this because I had to. I didn't have a choice. I created this because I had no list. I had no online reputation. I didn't know what the heck I was going to do in a marketplace where I was the hero. And then all of a sudden I was a nobody because no one knew me outside of my own market. In Cairo, for example, going into that marketplace, I wanted to go into something that was new that would build a new business for me. And I built a new business platform for that. Now, by the way, we expanded that to doing the Totalpreneurship Institute and Super Totalpreneurship, quite frankly, because I had to make a decision. I had too many things I was doing. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and you want to create that in your business, create the leverage, create the profitability, create the coaching program, create the expert power. This is specifically for you, but there's a big but here. You got to be interviewed to be accepted, because the fact of is that you're going to be working with me for at least 2 hours a week, and I won't say one-on-one. Our group is going to be about 10 people or so, but we're going to be working specifically on your thing. It's got to work. It's got to work for you, and it's got to work for me. Okay, if you're a whiner and a complainer, it ain't going to work. Okay, if you're deeply committed to your craft and building something that's going to be sustainable for the long term, it'll be a love affair. It'll be amazing. So, what I'm going to say to you is, you want to get on to an interview with me over the next 24 hours. I'll give you the link for that in a second, and we'll spend 15 minutes together. We'll talk about the actual program. And by the way, the program ain't cheap. This is not a $97 or $297 program. This is pretty significant. This is like the pro side of things. This is, serious people only apply. Okay. So you've got to actually be serious about this. And when you are, you'll make a bunch of money. It comes right down to that. So here's how we get started together. What you're going to get with this program, to answer those questions, okay, is this. So let's see. Sam says, you've done incredibly well, brought value to your list and created the freedom. Wow, this is really nice. Thank you, Sam. Sam says, you've done incredibly well, brought value to your list and created the iFreedom lifestyle. Just awesome. Thank you. Kudos to you. I appreciate that. That's what I want for you guys. I want you guys in Nepal. That's why I'm doing this. I couldn't be more serious about that. So, and by the way, you don't have to come to Nepal. You can take the money and do whatever the heck you want. But I'm going to tell you something. And by the way, there's a link to the Nepal trip, I think, on the sales page. But here's the deal. My mom is 79 years old. She went to Nepal with me last year. Okay, so if mom can do it, you can do it. I want you in that lifestyle. All right. Anyway, you can get over 24 hours of live training, and it's over 24 because, first of all, we'll talk longer than an hour probably. Secondly, I planned it for 3 months, but obviously, if we're going to schedule your event out a couple weeks later, or if you got to postpone or whatever else you got to do, I'm there till you do your event. But you're not. But after Nepal, this training's done. By the way, doing your first training, does that mean that we're done? Does that mean that there's no more relationship, and does that mean you can't do any more? Of course not. It means that there's just another you do the next one, and we'll talk about continuing our training together and education together. So you get 24 hours of live training. By the way, they'll all be recorded. They will not be transcribed. They will all be recorded, and they'll be in our members area, so that if you can't make it live with me because there's a lot of training you're doing, then it'll be there for you. Also, we're going to do a lot of stuff that you're going to want to actually have a recording of, so you can go back and listen to it again to make sure you follow the steps that we'll go through. So it'll be in the members area. We're also going to do something that we've never done before, that is now going to be the hallmark of the Institute. I call them inner game power boosters. My friend Diana Cottle, she's the founder of the Cottle Code. I talked to you about EFT earlier, that tapping summit. Diana does tapping, energy tapping. She's brilliant. And once a week, Diana is going to work with you guys, and we'll do tapping together to get past any of the obstacles and the frustration and any of the things that would be in the way of our headspace, so that we have a holistic way of learning together. By the way, I pay her for this. This is not like she's volunteering. She's going to be paid by me to serve you. Okay? So, and she's going to be, she's getting some exposure on that, but the bottom line is I'm paying her services to help you go through the obstacle stuff and the, oh my God, this person didn't promote, this person didn't respond, this person said, no, what an idiot. We're going to pass through all that crazy stuff because it's part of the game. Okay. Is there stress here? Yeah, there is. Absolutely. So we'll help you work through it. I also want to bring people in for you as guest experts like Marissa. And I want Marissa to come and talk to you about why she's pricing things at $200. How did she make her summit go well? Now some of them will agree, some of them won't. Don't know who they are yet because we're making this up on the fly. We could have one interview, we could have 5 interviews. Don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and do that for you guys. All right. You will also have access to my marketing vault. Okay. So you'll get to see what I did. You'll get to look at all my emails, my follow-ups, my videos that we kept, all that stuff you can clone. Okay. Thousands upon thousands. That's like $5,000 or more of value. You'll have access to that. You're not starting from zero like I did. You're cloning me. And at the end of it, if you want to turn this into a business, you get a completion certification. So if you want to become an online event producer, you can and charge for it. I met a guy a couple of years ago who swears that he gets paid $30,000 for his services to do events, online events, conferences for associations, and he gets a piece of the action too. Now, is that real? I don't know. People puff things up, but even if you got paid a $10,000 fee for doing it, not a bad payday. Okay, so to get started right now, all you got to do is go to totalpreneur.com/OESF, which stands for Online Event Success Formula. Okay, whoops, and let me see if I can hit the button here to send this thing to you on the chat. So I'm giving you the link right there. So it's totalpreneur.com/OESF. When you get there, you will get to, where's the page here? I think it's this page right here. You'll get to the sales page, and there's a lot of stuff to read. You don't have to worry about reading it right now. Just scroll down to the easy button, okay, and sign up for the free 15-minute consultation with me, and we'll decide whether it makes sense for you. We'll go through the pricing on it. We'll go through how you'll end up paying it. Like I said, it's not cheap, so we really want to spend some time and make sure it's going to work for you. All right, you'll just go on and do that. Okay, so it's all in there. All right, so go to that page, click the easy button. There are a couple of other links too. It says click right here. You can click there. Same thing. It's all the same link. So you'll end up going to do that. And let's see here. You'll get to this page. When you go to that, when you click that link, you'll go to this page, which is make an appointment. You'll click on the "Is this training for me?" interview. Okay, and then you go ahead and you'll end up booking that. And you'll just pick the time they want. You'll pick 3 times. I'll approve one of the times for you, and we'll get going. Right. So it's just a matter of checking that out. Do not go and sign up for a strategy session. Right. That's not what this is about right now. And there's no time. Why am I saying there's no time? We're starting next week. We're starting on the 6th. We've got to start now. There's no time to waste. And I'm not trying to give you, scarcity or drama, but the bottom line is that you've got to do it now, or we are out of time for Nepal. If you look at the dates, we got May, June, July to get you all ready to go. So you've got to start with me next week. Right now, by the way, if next week's a problem for you, you need to start the week after. Everything will be recorded. But if we don't start next week, we're behind. So there is a significant element of urgency here. Okay, and this is not made up urgency. It's calendar-oriented urgency. The more we delay, the longer out in the future your event's going to be. So this is why we're doing that. So here's what you got to do. Go to totalpreneur.com/OESF. Set up your interview with me. I will do it. I will work over the weekend. If the dates don't work for you or whatever, send me an email real quick at support@totalpreneur.com, and we'll figure something out if those times don't work for you. I'm not going to do it at 3 o'clock in the morning my time. I will tell you that. But if you can't find a spot, there should be spaces available. Okay, set up your interview. There's a survey that you'll complete, that you'll fill out. Submit that to me. You can just send it by fax or email. Meet with me. We'll see that it's a match. And if it's a match, man, it's going to be amazing. Okay. And by the way, I did save the best for last. And the best for last is this. I'm going to build it for you. Okay. I'm so committed to making sure that you're successful, that you don't screw it up, and that you don't, and I don't want to sound nasty the way I said that. That didn't come out right. But I want to make sure you do it right. And I want to make sure that you don't give technology the power to stop you. If you don't have a website, if you don't have the autoresponder sequence built in, if you don't know how to set the instant pay plan, if you don't have the ability to do it, we're going to do it all for you. We're already doing it. I've got a team that does it. So there's no reason at all why we can't help you do it for you. Okay. So we will build it for you. Okay. Now, what do you got to do? You got to step up to the plate on this. You got to give us the pictures and photos for the speakers and their bonus information. You got to give us the copy for the page. We're not writing your copy. Okay. But we're building your complete funnel from beginning to end, so that your affiliate pages are built out. You just have to give us the copy. And by the way, you can steal mine, but you've got to customize it for you. Okay. Sam says, I got a huge fear of public speaking. Awesome. No one's seeing your face, Sam. You don't have to do it on a Google Hangout. You can do it like this on GoToWebinar. And with GoToWebinar, guess what? They don't see your face. So, and by the way, if you don't want to do that, you're missing a huge opportunity, but you can bring somebody in to be the host for you. You could. I don't recommend it, but you could. William says, I'll be in that interview. Absolutely. I'll do it at 3 a.m. my time. Awesome. Whatever works. Just get in there and do it. That's the objective. This is going to be amazing, and we're making this up as we go. I mean, I'm serious. This is the real deal. You will get to see, and one reason why this is so important is the things that I take for granted now that I've learned the hard way. You will learn, and you'll see me do, and you'll get to say, "Well, Ken, why are you doing that?" And I'll be like, "Well, because I'll give you one thing real quick. This is huge." Holly yesterday was like, "Oh my God, really?" I said earlier that I do them live, and I require that I have at least two on a 3-day event, minimum three pre-recorded sessions. Now, why the hell would I do that? Why the heck would I do that? The answer is very simple. I got burned bad on that first event. Oh my God. I had one person, my first speaker of the day on Sunday morning, didn't even show up. Who does not show up for an event that they're speaking at, that they're going to make money presenting? Did not show up. Okay. I mean, so what do? Luckily, Davin Michaels, I love Davin so much. He's such a dear friend. He's a genius marketer. Davin didn't want to do the event live. He wanted to do a pre-record. That's how Davin works. Okay. So I said, okay, let's very quickly. Davin wasn't on yet. I was going to do him later on that day. Let's put Davin on first. I have someone that does all the recordings for me. That's something else. That's another thing. I don't ever do it myself for those events. So I quickly got on the phone and I said, "You need to put on Davin now." And we just had a couple minute delay, and we hit the play button, and there it was. Bam, done. We had another situation where power went out, and we were 10 minutes into a presentation, and the guy lost his internet. How horrible is that? I had another situation where the speaker left. We finished doing his presentation, did a great job, and clicked end webinar rather than leave webinar. The entire thing was turned off. I mean, all these things you can't plan for unless you've been through that. So if someone's going to say, "I'll teach you how to do a webinar," and that has not done stuff like this for years, you're wasting your money because they've never been through and had the shit, the blanket, the fan, excuse me. All right. So that's why this is so important. All right. And this is not for everybody. This is for people that are serious about making this work. I know a lot of people who have taken similar courses. They're like $6,000 or $7,000 or whatever, and you don't get what I'm offering you here. And they've not made money, and they're like whining and complaining. Well, I know why, because they haven't gotten me. So what you're going to get in this training, and this isn't like about Ken flattering himself. I've just been there. I've walked through the talk. I've been the pioneer. I've gotten the arrow shot in my back. I've had things. I mean, I'm going to tell you that I've never told like a big audience this, but I'm going to share this with you guys because you're going to learn this. All right, I'll tell you this now just because I can. Here's the deal. My first event, the World Info Mastery Summit, I worked my butt off. I mean, I was working nearly 24 hours a day to get it done. It was really hard, and I was super tired. And we were doing multiple speaker rooms. I'll share with you when you get into this system what we did. But anyway, my friend Karen Glasser was helping me with the event as a not presenter but co-host, and Karen said, "You need to take a nap, Ken. You are just beyond. You're never going to make it through the first night unless you take a nap." So I put myself to bed, set the alarm on my iPhone, and never woke up. And obviously I woke up, but I didn't wake up in time to get out the follow-up emails to give everybody their GoToWebinar codes. No one got anything. The event was supposed to start at 9 a.m. I woke up at 9:30. There were people waiting to get on. Speakers were waiting to get on. People were waiting to get on. And nobody could get on. No one knew what the heck was going on. My staff was freaking out. No one had my number. I'm in Thailand. No one had my Thai number. And I didn't hear my cell phone at all. I was so tired that I slept through my own event. How humiliating is that? And I was more than mortified and embarrassed. That happened to me. It will not happen to you. I promise. I will make sure that does not happen to you. That happened to me. Oh my God. So we ended up, and by the way, that made for the most amazing fun event because we laughed about it the whole time. It was like, how much worse could Ken humiliate himself? And the audience absolutely loved it because it was real. So when you have that kind of reality going on, your group will grow. And that made it such an amazingly successful event. So someone's failure or supposedly failure and problems are your biggest friend. That's another reason why we got to work together. Okay. You'll get your inner power booster game sessions each week with Diana. I'll be bringing the interviews in for you guys. You'll get access to my marketing vault. Something I didn't talk to you about is my JV Rolodex. Here's the deal. If it's logical for me to connect you with Fab or other people that I do business with, I will do that. I will set you up if it's logical. Now, if you're doing like a bass fishing thing, I don't know anybody in bass fishing. Off the top of my head, I don't anyway. So I probably can't do much referral for you. But if you're doing something in holistic medicine, if you do something, in areas which I've got contacts, I will share them with you for sure. I want you successful. I want you to come to Nepal. I want you making money. Okay. So you get your certification, you'll get your complete funnel, your website funnel. It's a $26,000 deal is what this is. And it'll be a fraction of that. So, and by the way, it's like anything else I do, fully guaranteed. And by the way, I've changed my guarantee. So you need to pay attention to this. If by the end of the first session you don't think it's the best investment, let me know. Your money gets refunded. That's plain and simple. But I am not doing a no questions asked guarantee anymore, because a no questions asked guarantee to me is a lie. Because if you simply give someone back their money and don't ask, either you're making millions of dollars and you don't care, or you simply don't care and you're not a good marketer. Because I want you got to ask 3 questions. Okay. First question, whoops, not that one. First question is, what happened? What happened to make you dissatisfied? Second question, what should have happened? How do we screw up? What should we have done? And number 3, how can we make it right for you? Because you signed up to get a result. So why would we just let you bail without trying to make it right for you? That's what unprofessional people do. So we don't do a no questions asked guarantee anymore. We do a we care about you guarantee. And if you're not happy, you get your money back. But if we can fix it, wouldn't you want us to? So isn't that like the more honest way of doing things? So I saw that on an Alex Mendozian website, and I thought, that's really smart. So I stole it. I adopted it, and I'm giving them credit for it too. So you want to make your marketing tons more effective, build an active list fast, create power and influence as if you were on autopilot, and create the freedom and confidence you deserve, all within 120 days, because we're going to Nepal. Okay, this is definitely designed for you. So go to totalpreneur.com/OESF. Whoops. Oh God, I didn't tell you about the rest of it. Sign up. I forgot to tell you. You order now, you're going to get to be enrolled in our biweekly Explorer group coaching sessions. That's a $1,200 a year value. I will give that to you during the time that we are together. So, and that's completely optional, but you want to be in our sessions. So you'll get that too. Bottom line, you watch the entire presentation. You want to maximize your marketing and build your business. You know it's an excellent value, even though you don't know what the price is yet, and you want to get accepted into the program. So, and the bonuses alone, I mean, you're there. So go right now, set up your interview to totalpreneur.com/OESF, and we'll get you hooked up. Andrea, I love you. Thanks for being with us. I really appreciate that. So that's it. No credit card today. Okay. Just let's find out whether it makes sense for you. And if you need a payment plan or something, we'll figure something out. I want you in if you really want to be in. And we'll make some money. We'll have some fun. So that's it. Any questions for you guys before we say sayonara, see you later? Any questions, you guys? I'll answer questions for you if you like. Any questions? Looks like I got most of the questions here. Cool. Thank you. I do need that payment program. I know most people do, and that's cool. I just made a list of 16 speakers that I would want to use. Great. Perfect. Excellent. Izzy says, thank you. Perfect. And Carol, I'll tell you, it's on the sales page. So go to that sales page, and it's all listed there for you. Okay. Anything else? Okay. So get yourself booked right now so I can talk to you either later today or tomorrow morning or over the weekend. And we begin next week. So I'm looking forward to working with you guys. I think it's going to be awesome. Doriana says I'm even more psyched. Yeah, Doriana, this is like exactly what you got to be doing. I mean, this is completely for how you're going to build your business and take you from where you started out, from your dream to now the reality. Sam says, thanks so much. Doriana is one of the members of our Trailblazers. And in Trailblazers, we meet every single week and we go through everything to help people build their business. It is the coolest program. I love my Trailblazers. And there's no holds barred. Whatever we need to do, we do. I mean, it's really that cool. So this is absolutely perfect for you, Doriana. Absolutely perfect. Carol says, thank you for a very interesting talk. I'm going to take that as a compliment, but I got to tell you, interesting and for me and when I was a kid, someone asked, how was your dinner? I said, it was very interesting, which is like, I couldn't stand it, but I know you don't mean that. So thanks, Carol. You just bringing back some old memories. So anyway, you guys, thank you for being with us today. Sorry I went a little bit long. Happy to serve you. I'm looking forward to having you in the program. Doriana, like I said, you will totally love this. We'll get you guys all hooked up. I know you didn't mean that, Carol. I know you didn't mean it that way. You're just bringing back memories. And by the way, one little thought about that. As you do your presentations, you need to know who your audience is. Okay, and you want to build a tribe, and you want them to feel that they know, like, and trust you, right? So just even to mention that, that was not obviously meant to you know to be anything negative. I knew you didn't mean that. I didn't mean that at all. But the bottom line is, but people get to know who you are a little bit and see your personality and let you be you. They will stay with you for the longest time. If you're looking to just be vanilla, everybody's vanilla out there. Okay, you need to be your own Howard Stern. Okay, you need to be your own personality. If and why? Because the people that don't resonate for you, they're gone. People that do resonate with you will be your raving fan forever. You got to be you. You've got to be you. And that builds a long term business that you will love, right? Cal says, I like your personality. Great. William says, I need to be like that guy. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, you will never catch me watching a Rush Limbaugh thing. We could not be further apart. The only reason I would watch him would be that if I was going to make a comment about who he is and what he represents, I would have to actually listen to him to get firsthand information as opposed to watching the stuff in the media, because all the media does is lie. Okay. So I like to work from a truth standpoint. But the bottom line is, people will resonate to you because of you. And we're going to build an event together that is your event based on your personality, that people will come to because they love you, because they resonate. And so that way you're having fun. When I do my live trainings now and I do my coaching stuff, I'm getting up at anywhere between 3 and 5 o'clock in the morning to do them. Yeah, and it's been 5, but now there's conversations about my having to work with global considerations, and I may end up getting up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to do my coaching programs. And you know what? That won't be easy to get up, but it'll be a lot of fun. I mean, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, not so hot. But when I get on the phone with everybody and we brainstorm and we work together, it is the most fun thing ever. I love my people. I do. I love. They're so cool. And when we create opportunities for them, and we take them from where they thought they were going to where they really want to go. It's miraculous. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden there's like an orchestra in the background that's just started, creating amazing music. That's what I want you to be able to build for your own events. Okay, it really becomes a giant love affair. One last caveat, and we're going. You've got to be a leader. Even though you're building your love affair, you've got to build a leader and take them the direction that they need to be in, and take them the direction that they want to go in, which does require some market research, but it also requires you're putting on your big boy boots and being the Yoda. Don't act like an ass. Be real, but guide them to where they need to go. And don't be afraid to say, here's what you need to do. Okay? Here's what you need to do. Carol, you still haven't gotten your details for Mark stuff. Would you do me a favor, please? Would you send me an email to the support line, support@totalpreneur.com, or better yet, give me your direct email in the chat. I thought everyone had been handled, um, taken care of. So if you haven't, something is really, really weird, because you should have been all set weeks ago. Okay, so I want to make sure you're covered. Okay, yeah, I know, yeah. Interesting, very interesting. Okay, let me I'll get on that after this is over here. Okay. So we'll get it sorted out for you, but we'll get you squared away. Okay. All right, you guys, I got to go. I wish you the best. I'm looking forward to speaking with you on our 15 minutes of fame together, and welcoming you. Hopefully we'll get things worked out for you guys for next week, and be prepared, because it's going to be a fun time. Um, okay. Let me see. What am I doing with that, Sam? Are you trying to tell me you don't have a Skype number? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I'm not sure what you're asking me here. Talk to me, baby. You have Skype. Okay, so Skype me. Your schedule is being set up on Skype. Or are you saying you want to do your 15 minutes right now? 604. 604 is like Vancouver, right? I was not sure what if you're setting up for the, yeah. Okay. So um so Sam, what are you telling me, Sam? I'm not sure what you're telling me. All right, you want to do? All right, we'll do you now then. All right. So give me a few minutes, and give me your Skype, because we're going to do this on Skype. All right. And anything else, you guys? I guess you deliberately haven't told us how much it is. Yeah, it's on the page. You see, when you go to the page to sign up for it, it's on the page. It's there. It's there. Yep. And I deliberately did. Yeah, so I learned this from Ty Cohen. In a lot of cases, I don't want to sell you on price. It's not cheap. I did tell you that, but I'm selling you on value. Okay. Um, oh, okay. Thanks, William. I prefer Skype for two reasons. Number one, I'll tell you why I prefer Skype. First of all, if you're overseas, and I say overseas, overseas depends on where you are in the world. I have a lot of people that are with me in Australia. Now, a lot of you guys seem to be US based, but I got a lot of Australians, a lot of them. So, and my Skype plan is an American plan. So I can call the US and Canada, I think, as part of my plan. So that's one thing is if I do it on Skype, it's free. I like free. Free is good. Okay. We're going to talk about making a lot of money, but we also want to save a lot of money too. So that's important. Second thing is that what's the second thing? I like to do things with video. So on Skype video, I get to look at you and talk to you, and you get to look at me and talk to me, and it's as close to being a real in-person conversation rather than just a phone thing. Okay, and something that it became abundantly clear last night, which may be no surprise. I had a call with one of my joint venture partners last night, and bottom line, we're on his cell phone, and he was at a Sprint store. For those of you in the U.S., really crappy connection. Put him on Skype. It was just like what you're talking. The quality you're hearing on GoToWebinar right now. So Skype beats the crap out of everything else. And yeah, I will. I will. Blah 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 blah. Let me put in the chat for you, Sam. Just quickly here. Let me see if I can send this to you real quick. You can Skype me at this number. It's in your. Actually, you set up the appointment, but uh, just go ahead and Skype me at that, and we'll be good to go. All right. If anybody else wants to do one within the next hour or so, it looks like I'm not going anywhere because of the washing machine people, so I will be available for you guys. So don't let me have it. No. Okay, William, did you sign up for a session yet? And do you have Skype? I'm already messing my. Okay, yeah, you need to go to skype.com, get a session, get a session booked, and go ahead and when you get a session book, my Skype ID rather is in there. So just send me a message, okay? No, actually, Jocelyn, I've got to return a text to my landlord who said, "Can you come at noon now?" And I didn't want to stop my flow, so I've got to go back and take care of it. But they're coming in 2 hours. Thanks, Jocelyn. Please give us your Skype, Carol. You have that because when you signed up for your 1 hour session, that was in that. So go ahead and sign up for the 15 minute, and it's in the confirmation. Okay, so it's in the confirmation there. I just don't want to broadcast my Skype thing to everybody on on this venue, just because I got it. I reserve Skype really for personal stuff, with my own staff kind of thing. So yeah, that's how I run that. I don't offer Skype training, if you will, and if you know what I'm saying. And that's the same thing. I don't like to give out my personal email address because what ends up happening is people start spamming me, and I have a serious problem with that. So it's shockingly, you give out a business card at an event with the idea that you're going to do a joint venture or something together, and the next thing you know, you're getting spam for every dang thing that's out there. So um, it's gone to the point where I have to like, no, you don't get my email address. You here's my number, whatever, and or give me yours, but I won't go there. Or you have to create an email address that's specifically for that event. I mean, really amazing. So for those of you that asked, I did private you my Skype, but preferably if you get bombed, absolutely. And like I said, I'd rather just tell you all the truth. Tell you why, because you got to do the same thing for your business. You got to run your business transparently. So I'm going to be offering some kind of other service, but here's the other thing you got to keep in mind. If I were to open up my Skype to everybody, and if I were even to say Skype anytime, would I be able to get any work done at all? And when someone Skypes me, it's like if I don't answer them, then I'm like, there's something that's waiting for me, and it's annoying as hell. For me to be in the middle of something, like I've got a couple of Skype messages that are waiting for me that came in during this event. I forgot to put it on silent, and it's bothersome because it takes away and distracts me. So unless someone's paying me for my time, Skype, I mean, it is refer it's It's reserved for my staff in the Philippines. We are live all day long on Skype. It's like our intercom system. So it operates that way. If people call me out of the blue in the middle of the night, that's the middle of the day for America. It's like, you got to be kidding me. So there's that. And people, and by the way, just one other thing too, just for you guys to know, because some people actually don't know this. If you're going to call somebody on Skype, it's not a cell phone. You need to text somebody first and say, are you there? Are you free for a call on Skype? Because just sending a call like that is intrusive. So just things like that people don't know. And it's amazing. So yeah, I try to not, I restrict it to business specific things only. And not because I'm trying to be a jerk, but because I actually have to run a life, and not always easy. So I tell you that again, just because you will need to do similar things as you build your business. And sometimes being too available diminishes your value to people, you know so you can't just like Skype Tony Robbins. You know what I mean? Unless you're one of Tony's friends. And there's people who I can talk to all the time because we're friends, like with Fab, this kind of thing. But there's people, you just can't run a business and run a life if you're that available. You gotta have some limits. So anyway, I'm saying goodbye to you guys. Uh, Sam, Skype me in about 10-15 minutes, because I got to do the same thing you got to do, called bio break. And for the rest of you guys, get your appointments made up. Get me, get connected with me on Skype, and we'll get our meeting done and see if we can put stuff together. Thanks, everybody. I love you all, and I'll talk to you all soon. Hopefully, we'll be working together next week. Bye, all.